What's up, guys? It's RevJ again. As you can tell, we are out in the garage. Sorry if you hear a little bit of the noise from the fluorescent lighting. It's shop lighting. There's not much I can do. So why are we out here today? A couple of reasons. One, it's like the first day over 50 degrees that's been decent in Wisconsin, which I can actually come out to the garage and not freeze my ass off. I am wearing the Carhartts, but that's just because I'm in the shop. Number two is to talk about what you see on the table behind me here, the Miller Digital Elite Series welding helmet. So why am I doing this? Well, I wanted to open up and do an unbox and just kind of basically show you guys the helmet, because I've been welding for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, a little bit longer, and about 2 or 3 years doing TIG welding of that. So that whole time, I'd been doing it with this. This is a PowerWeld auto darkening solar rechargeable welding helmet with skulls and says RevJ on the side of it. It has my sticker from my buddies over at Unify Records. This thing is kind of an eBay special, and this is a lot of what you'll see people pick up when they get their first welding helmet. This or like the Harbor Freight one. You know what? For 120 bucks at the time, I think it was a pretty good helmet, and it lasted all of that 5 or so years. However, when we started getting into some of the higher amp TIG and the really low amp TIG, the sensitivity of the sensor just wasn't there, the shade control just wasn't there. And recently when I was doing some work on a friend's motorcycle frame, it just was not wanting to adjust properly at all. I was getting flashed. I'm not going to record through it because I don't want to flash the camera. So I decided that it was finally time to upgrade, and safety gear is something I'm notoriously slow about upgrading, but I think you've only got one set of eyes, so it's probably pretty good. So I went ahead and bought this. This has got a grinding mode, it's auto darkening, it's auto shade adjustable with the X mode. Go to Miller, you can see all the features. I bought this from Welder Supply Store here in Wisconsin. I think I got it in like 3 days, and they had one of the more competitive prices on it, so thanks to them. And as a matter of fact, they actually included some Welder Supply Company, not Welder Supply Store, Welder Supply Company, nice thick MIG gloves here. These are actually nicer than the MIG gloves I have right now. So for a free add-in, thanks guys, I appreciate that. I'll put these to good use. Now, the helmet itself runs about $220, I think, a little bit more if you get the fancy colors. I got mine in black. At some point, we might go ahead and paint it or airbrush it, or I still have my striping kit, so maybe we'll do that. But for now, we're just gonna leave it black, plain and simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera up here a little bit. We can unbox this thing and take a look at some of its features. And my nose is stuffy. Again, every time I do a freaking video, I mean, somebody's even talked about it in one of my videos. My freaking nose is always stuffy. It'll be fine. All day, I'll go to do a video, and all of a sudden I can't breathe through my nose. So I've slid everything out of the plastic and set it here on the table. We've got the helmet. It came with a little carrying bag to help protect the front shield and give you a place to store your helmet. I will kind of comment, I see a lot of people drop and just sling their helmets all over the place. When you buy something nicer, you're a little less likely to do that, and it's definitely always a good idea to go ahead and put it back in the bag just so you don't get stuff scratched up. The lenses, of course, are replaceable with Miller's proprietary lens, which is I'll talk about in a second, but save yourself that trouble. Keep it in the bag as much as you can. You've also got the documentation over here on the right side. Let's see what we got here. We've got a fairly beefy guidebook here. See if I can get the reflection. Auto darkening helmets for the Digital Elite and Digital Performance series. What is that? Oh, and it's even included some extra lenses right there, both the inner and outer shields. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll try to get up a little closer here. The inner and outer shields for the helmet. There's of course a replaceable lens on the inside of this too from the back. We'll see that in a second. I'll go ahead and put this to the side here. What else do we have? We have redefined welding protection. Oh, a little advertisement for some other Miller safety products. They actually do have some really nice stuff. I'm not in the market for any new jackets or gloves right now, since of course Welder Supply Company just sent me some, but it's nice to know that they are there. Let's talk about the actual feature itself here, the Miller Digital Elite Series welding helmet. So it's got, Digital Elite Series includes Weld, Cut, Grind, and X mode. Let's talk a little bit about what those are. Welding is your regular auto darkening welding mode, adjustable shades, and darkens when you light an arc. Cutting mode is a darkening shade for torch cutting, which I believe is a 9, but don't quote me on that. It might actually be lower. The grind mode is just sort of a passive mode. I think in this case it's actually got a little bit of a tint on it, but it basically goes clear. And that lets you cut and grind with the helmet still on. If you're using a grinder and you don't want to switch to a face shield or don't want to switch to other glasses, this has a mode built in. I would suggest go and buy a cheaper face shield for like 12 bucks and use that for grinding so you don't chew through these screens. These proprietary screens, like I mentioned, they're not real expensive, but they're more expensive than your regular standard universal, 4x3 little welding shield that goes in the front there. So just something to keep in mind. You do have to get them from Miller. You see below that 9.26 square inch viewing area. So as you can see, of course, that is the viewing area there where the reflection is. That's why I had to back the camera off. That is the 9.26 viewing area. The outer large shield here does give you some extra peripheral vision when looking through the lens at an angle. Hopefully you can see that there where it says Digital Elite Series at the bottom. There's 2 sensors there, and you also have the 2 smaller ones at the top here. Air raid sirens going off? I guess it's air raid siren times. Of course, it's just the black. I didn't get one of the fancy ones. You've got your Miller logo here on top. It's a very nice finish, just sort of a matte black, semi-gloss black. The helmet itself has a pretty robust feel. It's not the heaviest duty. Obviously, if you guys have ever seen some of the thick pipe lining helmets, they are really robust shells. This isn't as hardcore, but it's still pretty nice. It feels nicer than the really flimsy ABS of that Elder helmet. Let me grab that one. Side by side, you guys can see here, there are some distinct differences. You know, viewing area is similar in size. This has a much larger outer lens on it here, but look at the material. This is really flexy, sort of wobbly, chintzy stuff. The Miller helmet over here, can it be flexed? Yeah, it can definitely be flexed, but it just seems like the overall construction's a little better. Again, you're talking about a slightly more premium helmet. Now, by no means is this the top of what Miller offers. They have some pretty expensive helmets, but I am not a 60-hour-a-week welder. The type of stuff we're using it on is much different. That air raid siren's gonna be really annoying, isn't it? I'm gonna cut right quick and come back as soon as that shuts off. I mentioned it's got changeable outer shields. There you go. You just gotta get a good press on it. And as you can see there, the front shield comes off and you can replace this with those included ones I showed you guys over there. Here again is a better look at the actual front shield here. Snaps over and we're back in business. Suspiciously absent, of course, are all the adjustment knobs. Again, I'm gonna grab the PowerWeld for reference here. You've got your sensitivity on the side here. You've got your shade on the other side here, which you probably won't focus on. This doesn't have that. Now why? Because one of the big features of the Miller Digital Elite is this inside here, which is the Digital Elite sort of sensor assembly. All right guys, I flipped things around just a little bit here. You can see we're zoomed in. This is the Miller Digital Elite sensor package or welding plate package. I don't know what you want to call the formal name for it. Basically, this is the thing that everything is built into. This is the control hub. I mentioned there's no controls on the outside because they're all right here. It's one of the most unique things about the Miller, and it's also one of the things that some people love and some people do not like about it. We've got our auto on off here on the left side, mode on the right side to switch from weld, cut, and X mode, or weld, cut, grind, and X mode, sorry. There is of course a battery on this. Now this is the solar rechargeable, but they still use a battery. It's in weld mode, of course, which it says up there on the left. Shade is 11, and you can see there's some little things in the bottom here. They're a little washed out. LTR, DKR, short, long, less and more. Those are actually the controls. So these are actually buttons, and I'll give you guys a better view on those where it says short, long, dark. Of course we can go dark. Shade goes up to 12. Lighter goes down to 11. The delay, it's at the shortest right now, go to 1. And of course the sensitivity, let's see, how high do we have it going here? Sensitivity can go to 10, so it's about halfway on the sensitivity. And of course mode, weld, cut, grind. What did I have cut mode set to? 5. I said it was 9, so it's shade 5. My fault. I reported that incorrectly here. And of course, the sensitivity is up to high, the delay. All of these things change as you move it. The grinding mode is shade 3. It's basically passive. You guys can see the logo on the cardboard through it. This is just a light green tint that you'll be looking through. They say there is an advantage to that. I don't know what the advantage to the green is. I guess it adds to definition and contrast. I haven't tried it yet. We'll see how it goes. You can change mode. This is X mode, and this is the one I'm excited to try out. Right now it's set to shade 9, no delay. Sensitivity is at 8, but it's got the little logo there, which I believe is for X mode, and it will auto adjust the shade and the sensitivity based on the incoming light source. I've heard a lot about it, haven't tried it yet myself. I'm pretty excited to. I've got a lot of projects going in and out of shop lighting, or sometimes you're working inside and then going to outside very quickly. Supposedly, X mode will help me deal with that without changing the settings constantly, so I'm excited to try that out. Back to welding mode here, of course, lighter, darker, all those things. We can go ahead and set it again. That switches it to auto, and hold it for off. And we're off, and of course the lens goes clear again when it's off here. This is the Miller Headgear. Now, the old Headgear on that PowerWeld is a simple old band system. This thing, a good bit more complicated. It's got some like bendability here in the rear, and it comes back. You've of course got your width adjustment knob. This is the top of the head cradle. You've got 2 straps for that, not just one. Both of those of course can be adjusted via these tabs right here. And you have your adjustment knobs on both sides. Some people think this is a little flimsy. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the quality of it. I think as a sort of prosumer use welding helmet or something that does light duty, it'll be more than fine. It can be adapted to run a hard hat and stuff like that too for slightly more industrial use, but I don't have that set up here right now. All this stuff, of course, is detachable. Most of it's modular, and because it's Miller, most of it is replaceable or upgradable at some point or another in the future. It does have a little sweatband sort of here in front, very minimal padding otherwise. Thicker rubber base here for the back of your head. It's pretty simple, but it is very comfortable, and it is pretty darn lightweight. One of the strengths, I'll say, of the headgear and the helmet in general is that overall it really does not have a very high amount of neck fatigue from the little bit that I've played around with them and tried them on in the past. Alright guys, so that is the Miller Auto Darkening Digital Elite welding helmet in black. Really happy with it so far. It's got some cool features. The quality seems nice, way better than that PowerWeld I'm replacing. Might still keep it as like a old face shield or try to replace the sensor and make it into something else, but it's just scrap plastic otherwise. That can go to the side. Super happy with this, so thank you to Welder Supply Company for getting me hooked up, and of course tossing in the free gloves. That's it for now, guys. Just glad to be out here in the garage, honestly, able to do a review. Got some other cool stuff at the house, more automotive content coming up. Got some other tools I can review. If you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see on the channel. More automotive content on the way, more sneaker reviews, probably more random gaming stuff. Whatever else comes up, if you want to see something, as always, drop it in the comments below. Social media is on the screen here somewhere. I gotta throw in one more thing. Did you guys want arc shots? I didn't shoot any for this video, but if you guys want to see arc shots through both the old PowerWeld and the new Miller, I will go ahead and record some. I'm a little nervous about recording through the old PowerWeld if it does have a problem with the screen. I don't want to damage the DSLR, so I got to do a little research into that. I know there's like filters and shields and stuff like that, but some people tell me like with the GoPros, you can just film arcing directly. So I'm going to look into that real quick. If you guys want arc shots, let me know. I will post up some arc shots later in the week. Otherwise, that's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching.